Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to SmokeScreen. This is going to be the first of a little change of direction that I've been talking about the last few weeks, where I actually interview cast and crew from Game of Thrones. So I was lucky enough to sit down earlier today with William Mulhall, who is from Northern Ireland. He has been an extra in the show throughout many seasons, including season 8, and his family as well. And it just so happens that Will owns probably the most two famous dogs in the world, Odin and Thor, but you guys know them better as Summer and Greywind. So I was very lucky to be able to sit down with Will earlier today and talk about all this stuff behind the scenes, what it's like to be on Game of Thrones, what it's like being an extra, and to top it off, Will has decided to give away on this channel exclusively for this video, for this first interview type video on SmokeScreen, Will has agreed to give away 2 tours on his Game of Thrones tour in Ireland, and we do talk more about that in the interview itself. So there will be a giveaway link in the description below, and I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this video. But thank you so much to Will for doing this on this channel. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump right in and talk to Will about how it is being on Game of Thrones behind the scenes. Okay, so today we have something really special lined up for you guys. I really appreciate my next guest coming on. He is a special guest who's actually appeared in Game of Thrones along with his family, and also 2 special Northern Inuit dogs that we all fell in love with. Real names Thor and Odin. Of course, we all know them as Summer and Greywind. Today I have joining me William Mulhall. I really appreciate you being here, Will.
Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem, no problem. So I want to shout out Jackie Fox really quick. She was a viewer who went on your tour. You do currently do GOT tours in Northern Ireland, I believe, and we'll get to that kind of stuff and what you're doing now. But let's just get into it. So thanks, Jackie Fox, for kind of helping setting this up. And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, I've had a few people tell me they went on your tours and really loved it, and heard all great things about it. So hopefully I'll get over there one day, meet you guys in person.
You're more than welcome.
Thor and Odin, and maybe I can sneak my direwolf Riddick on the plane.
And, pack.
Yeah, exactly. He'd love it. So Will has been in the show several seasons, all the way from the beginning, as well as your 2 beautiful dogs, who again played Summer and Greywind in season 1, I believe. So how did all this happen? How do you end up on Game of Thrones, and how do you end up with your dogs being like the most famous dogs in the world?
Well, it was actually a family member who works in a small production here,
right?
And she heard that this new TV show was coming. It was a HBO production, and they were looking for guys with long hair and beards. At the time, I was 17, and I had long hair. I didn't have much of a beard. And my brothers, they had long hair as well. They're 3 years younger. Our whole family had long hair and beards. You know, my dad and my uncles. And so it was quite easy for us to kind of, go see what it was like. My dad is an artist by trade, naturally. He hung out with Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and Bob Dylan and all that back in the 70s. He used to paint their posters for them whenever they'd come to Ireland, so he hung out with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, his name's William Mulhall as well, actually. He's got art all over the place. But he was on stage with Led Zeppelin the first time they played Stairway to Heaven live. That was in Belfast.
Ah.
Anyway. Yeah, so Dad's got this mad art background anyway. So whenever film industries were looking for people, he just wanted, show his sons how to take an opportunity when it came. So he wanted to take us up and just kind of, see what the film industry was like. But whenever we got there, they looked at us and they were like, "You're too young." So we forged our dates of birth, but they were still like, "You still look a bit young." And then they were like, "You're actually a little bit too good looking as well." And
oh, that's a horrible problem to have. I mean, that's absolutely horrible. You're too good looking. Go away.
And then they're like, "But we'll take your dad." And my dad was like, "No, I've got a business to run. I have paintings to paint. I have things to do." They said, "No, we need you." So they pushed my dad up against the wall. They took a photograph of him, and that next weekend, he was a Dothraki slave master in the first few episodes of season 1.
Very cool. So they're like, yeah, you just fit the bill so perfectly. You got to be this Dothraki guy. So it started with Dad. And then you guys got involved. You said your brothers as well?
Yeah. So everyone's in it apart from my mom. She's our backbone, She keeps us going. But
right.
like my dad, my 2 brothers, me, and my 2 dogs.
Yeah, and so now some of the most famous dogs in the world, and I do understand, from my understanding of the area there in Northern Ireland, that farmers around the area that have animals and things like that, I guess, were called upon by Game of Thrones. Is that right? To kind of have background animals and stuff in various scenes.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Ireland's really rural, as you know, but there was this great story about a guy called Kenny, the farmer from Armagh. He was in a struggle, like he'll tell you himself, his farm was struggling. He comes from like generations of farmers, and this was the time where he realized that he was failing and that he might have to actually sell the farm just to survive. And one day, Game of Thrones phoned him up and asked him, did he have a stag? And he had this rare breeds farm, and he was like, yeah, he says, unfortunately, I've got this 30-year-old stag. It's sick. I'm about to put it down. And Game of Thrones were like, cool, can we have it?
Oh wow! So that's yeah, I did read that story, but I didn't know that's his actual stag they found.
Yeah. So he owned the stag.
Oh,
He
nice.
gathered it himself. The maggots, they were fake. They actually sprinkled them on for effect.
Right,
Props to
right.
that. But,
Most of them.
yeah. So then after that, like he was providing all the animals for the show and stuff. So yeah, like Game of Thrones really helped like little people really change their lives. Before Game of Thrones came along, hair, makeup, and costume people, they didn't know there was a big world out there before that. They thought like owning a salon was their maximum.
Right,
And now
right.
Game of Thrones comes along, and it's like they can go around the world and work for major film productions and travel and they get to do what they love all around the world, which is pretty cool, and like Game of Thrones, like if you do hair and makeup here, you have the option to do it in Iceland or Croatia or whatever, and like they swap back and forth, which is pretty cool.
Right. So that's been really, really good for the economies there, I suppose. And
Yeah,
opens the world up to a whole new thing you didn't think you could do before. So that's really cool.
exactly. Yeah,
So
I just wrote a blog on it. It's on our website. Sorry to plug you, but yeah, I just wrote a blog on it, and it's got like all the stats and stuff. Like Game of Thrones has returned like I think it's like 36 million into the economy in the last 8 years
oh
directly.
no,
They've
that's
paid.
outstanding. And we'll definitely at the end of this we'll definitely plug everything you need to plug, and
Yeah, that's good.
I'll have
Yeah,
all these links in the description below, and as far as where they can find you and what you're doing currently and all that good stuff. But
cool.
so they came to you specifically about your Odin and Thor. Is that right? So
Yeah.
they approached you, and then you got a trainer involved, I believe, and this is how we fell in love with these little direwolves we all know.
So Odin and Thor are, yeah, like you said, Northern Inuits, and
Yes.
I got them at 7 weeks old. I just wanted cool big dogs. I let my feet in the evenings beside a fire, like Ireland, we have fires in our houses, and it's just like I wanted dogs that I could take on big long walks up mountains and through forests and stuff, and because we live in like a really quite a remote area, like we live along the coastline, so there's beaches and golf courses and forests and mountains like short drives away. Like we live literally on a beach.
Right,
So
right.
that's what I wanted. So I got these two guys at 7 weeks old, these little pups. And we actually got Odin first, and then a couple of days later, we were like, we need another one. So we went and got Thor. And
Yeah. You always
these
need
two
one
guys,
more. You always need
yeah,
another one.
yeah. He's more dogs is always better. And yeah, so I got these two guys, and I was just playing with them and enjoying them. And 3 weeks later, about 10 weeks old or something, I get a phone call from the breeder to say that some TV show wants to use my dogs in it.
Some TV show, right?
Yeah, I was like, what's this show about? And the breeder was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just it's just some small thing. It's going to be have some swords and shields in it. Something medieval. We don't know yet.
Yeah, and I was like, cool, I'm into that because like I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan, So I was
Right.
like, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. So I brought my dogs up to the breeder's house with the trainers from Game of Thrones were, and they were looking at all the other pups and stuff, and they seen my two, and they only needed two, and these two were already together, and I had half kind of started training them, and they were like, we'll just take these guys. So they came out to my house and tried to start training them, but there was too many distractions, mainly me playing with them. So then they took them up to Belfast, where they lived in an apartment for 3 weeks, right? And
Oh,
whenever I
right. Wait a minute.
whenever I
You didn't live with them during that time?
no.
Oh, okay. So they just kind of took
But
them.
yeah, it took him. Yeah. But the trainer was like a best friend. Like she would email every day and say, "The dogs are doing. They walked here. They ate this. They're sleeping. It's this, they're playing with this toy." So it was like a proper like pup dates every day. Like And that was really cool. And I could visit them pretty much whenever I wanted. So whenever I got them back, they were fully house trained. They wouldn't pee in the house anymore. They would sit and speak on command. I got paid, and they're in the show. That's a triple win situation.
Absolutely. And the house training. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came out on top there.
Yeah, so the same people who trained them also trained all the animals used in Harry Potter, like Hagrid's dog, Fang.
Nice.
And all the dogs in Marylin as well. So they're trained by like the best. Yeah, so then I could visit them. And then I got to meet all the other direwolves as well. And I got to meet Nymeria, Ghost, Lady, Shaggy Dog.
Right, very cool. And I believe the other guys, I know Ghost is Quigley, I believe, and they're like a wolf rescue type thing now, I believe. Is that right?
Well,
I guess the smaller ones were different ones, I guess, right?
Yeah. So they used like multiple direwolves for different scenes and stuff. Some they trained to like, just sit and speak. Like Odin and Thor were trained to sit and speak on command, so they would howl when told to, and so on and so forth. And then like they used different dogs for different scenes, and they actually dyed the dogs. So I'm going to tell you a secret that no one knows, only me, because I've been on set. And I tell it every day to like the hundreds of tourists we meet. But this is the first time it's been recorded, and you're going to be the first person to hear it.
Exclusive. We got it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We got it here first, and exclusive.
Yeah. So I was petting away at Shaggy Dog one day, and I said to the trainers that were stood there, I was like, where's Ghost? I haven't seen him today. And the trainers, they laughed. They were like, that is Ghost. I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, oh, we just dyed him black.
Oh, wow. See, I did not know, and I thought I knew about Game of Thrones. Yes.
Yeah, no. They used the same dog twice, and he was like skinnier and smaller looking, just because like, like he wasn't as radiant, but like, yeah,
right.
It was really impressive. And we have pictures of him like dyed, but he has like white around his eyes where they couldn't dye that close, so they topped that up with makeup. And so that's how they got him completely.
Got you. So Ghost was actually Shaggy Dog. Wow, that's interesting. I'd actually heard that they did use some kind of, I guess, dog-friendly dye on the like for the puppies, but I didn't know the full extent of it. When I first saw Odin and Thor, I thought that they were. I glanced at them. I was like, oh, those must be German Shepherd puppies they painted. You know what I mean? Because Northern Inuit is pretty rare, actually. I looked these up, and I think it was like early 80s, trying to get as close to a wolf as possible. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, these are like the closest to wolves you can get without a license?
That's 100% right. Yeah, like that's what I say every day, is that the reason they use these guys in films is it's the closest thing to a wolf you can get without a license. And
nice.
They're so wolf-like in their appearance and so highly intelligent.
Yeah.
And like Odin and Thor being the firstborn in Ireland, they were a natural pick for Game of Thrones to come to.
Oh, very cool. So yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be looking these up and see how. I'm just curious of the cost of these in the States now.
Well, actually, we looked into breeding in the States, and the Northern Inuit pups go for $4,500.
I was going to say I knew it was going to be in the multi-thousands. I have a $1,000 German Shepherd. He's a big boy, Riddick. Everybody knows him on this channel, but yeah, I mean, I remember doing the research for him, and he's a well-known German Shepherd. But I'd imagine these guys are a lot more expensive.
Well, Odin and Thor's bloodline actually is very pure. They date back to the original bloodline that came in the 80s. So they're very sought after just because of their bloodline.
Right.
So there's a lot of breeders trying to breed with Odin. Thor has been serviced. They're like just looking after him because of his bloodline. But then again, he's also a famous direwolf, so that makes him a lot more valuable. We are actually looking for a mate for Odin at the moment.
Okay. Well, let me know. Let me.
If there's any American lady in Northern Inuits out there.
Okay, very cool. You did mention that you, besides Thor and Odin, obviously Summer and Greywind as puppies, you, your brother, and your father. Did you guys have any acting stuff before? It was just something that popped up. They just said literally, you have the right look as far as hair and beards, and that's the kind of look we're looking for.
Well, after we didn't really get involved in season 1, we kind of put it on the back burner. We were always kind of involved, like through other things. No, like I've got a big long-winded story that I tell on tour, but I'm just giving you the gist of it, the highlights. And
Sure.
my family and I, we live in a fishing village, and we built this traditional style of Irish wooden rowing boat, and we got funded for it and everything. And one day the funders got contacted by Game of Thrones asking for this boat to be used in the show. Game of Thrones said no better people to sail that boat than the guys that built it, so they wanted, my brothers and I to be in the show. Unfortunately, my flights were already booked and I had to go. But my brother Ross, he stayed behind, and they made him into what they call a marine stuntsman. So he was like training up the extras on how to row, and he was sailing the boat, and he actually sailed the boat that saved Jon Snow. Episode 8, season 5, the Hard Home episode. You know, the moment whenever the White Walkers show up and kill all the wildlings?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. One of the most iconic scenes or episodes, period. Yeah, in Game of Thrones history.
So Jon Snow jumps into the last boat to leave Hardhome, and the Night's King stood there, rising the dead.
Yes.
That's my brother's boat that Jon Snow stood in, watching all that happen.
That's very cool.
That's the boat that we built. Yeah.
Very cool. So you've been going since season 1 throughout this thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have all kinds of different little aspects of the show.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then season 6, I got in between season 5 and 6, after I came back from New Zealand, I did a Lord of the Rings tour and stuff out there, and I, was really inspired by that to start up my own Game of Thrones tour. But I'll talk about that in a minute. But in season 6, I got involved in the Battle of the Bastards after I did a TV show called Vikings. I'm not sure if you know it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now, that is I will say this, that is the most requested show I get to watch and do like reviews and stuff like that on. Is Vikings, and I just haven't had the time, but I really want to watch Vikings.
Well, Vikings, I would say, is a good substitute for whenever Game of Thrones isn't on the TV. It's just like, Vikings. It's historically accurate to a point. It's just history kind of told through a creative sense, and it's just Vikings destroying other Vikings. Then they get bored and destroy the English. Then they go destroy the French. It's really cool. But the thing about it is, I was a marine stuntman in season 3 and 4 for them. So I sailed the Viking longships. Anytime you see the sails up or the boats crashing, that was me. I was there, and that was my job. So I got to hang out with Ragnar and Rollo and Floki and stuff, and did all that. So that was me for a couple of years. I know they put me up in hotels. They paid for my accommodation. Everything was amazing. So that was cool. And then from Vikings, I went up to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is only an hour up the road from me, where Vikings is the other side of Ireland from me. So it was a difficult time to travel and stuff. So I stayed for Game of Thrones. My first thing for Game of Thrones in 2015 was the Battle of Bastards.
That was one of the, at least to this point, in my opinion, the best battle scene. We'll see what happens in season 8. But that was definitely the best. I believe in that scene, you were an Umber standing beside. No, you were standing beside Small John. Is that right? Stark.
Close. Okay, so I'll set this straight for you.
Yes, set me straight.
Because it's confusing, because my brothers were cheeky in the Battle of Bastards. So they started off, they were happy to take whatever role they were given. But whenever they seen how boring and uniform and normal the Boltons and Umbers were,
right,
they wanted to be with the Wildlings, because the Wildlings made it look like it was a festival.
Yes.
You got all these guys with long hair and beards, smoking, sticking their swords into the soil, wrestling with each other, just telling jokes and having fun. My bros hated being a Bolton stood in that line to come and hang out with the Wildlings. And the Wildlings were great fun. All these guys across Ireland. I think they try to find every guy in Ireland with long hair and a beard. And it was just so much fun, like so many different people from all around Ireland, different accents, just merged together to make something so amazing as the Battle of Bastards. So they would come in and they would say, it's my first day, and they're like, okay, you can go in here and you can be a Wildling. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then they put the Wildling, and then they join us. And my brother, he started off as a sellsword, then he went into being a Bolton and an Umber, and then he went into being a Mormont, and he was wearing this amazing Mormont armor. They have like a strong shoulder pad one side and then like bear's fur down the other side.
Yes.
And then he finished off being a Stark, which was cool. And then my other brother, he was an Umber running down the hill with Small John Umber, and he ended up being a Wildling, and he was one of the Wildlings in behind Tormund whenever he ripped the throat out of Small John Umber. So and he
Oh,
got
so
covered.
they're right there in the shots, like we
Yeah.
can catch you guys.
Yeah. And then my other brother, he was photographed by a good friend of ours, now a good friend of ours, Helen Sloan, the official photographer for Game of Thrones. She's an amazing photographer, and we've become quite good friends over the years. And one of the official HBO releases off season 6, episode 9, was Small John Umber up close, and in the background is my brother Caelan. He's dressed as a Bolton. And yeah, unfortunately, that's the only image we have of Caelan in the Battle of Bastards, so he's now the black sheep of the family.
The black sheep. Yeah, you only got this one little picture here.
No, it's just because he's a Bolton.
Yes.
But yeah, now that he moved on, yeah, he then became a Stark, and he joined us in the Wildling ranks. But yeah, now he worked in the casting department, and he works in casting the extras for the roles and stuff. My brother Ross was a Marine stuntman in season 5. Then he went on to be featured as an Umber in the he went on to be in a Wildling in the Battle of Bastards. And then all three of us ended up in season 7 together. We're the first 3 whites to walk through the wall once it came down.
Right, very cool. Yeah, I did see that on your website. The picture where it says where you are, right? You're right under the giant. I believe. Yeah. Very cool.
So the thing about that is like, us 3 brothers, it's good to be brothers on set, or a family on set, because everyone remembers you. But we're good fun anyway. Like, we're quite, friendly. We chat to everyone. We make friends quite easily. So we made friends with like the third AD, and she wanted to feature the Mahal family coming through the wall. This wall was built 1,000 years ago by Bran the Builder, and us 3 walked through it first.
That's pretty damn cool right there. Yeah, I mean, even though it's a fictional universe and the lore is just all lore, that's pretty damn cool. The first 3 through the wall that's been up for supposedly 10,000 years. We don't really know the timeline. It's broken, so that's got to be pretty damn cool. And that was actually kind of my next question as far as the being extras and all these different, whether it's a Wildling, a Bolton, a Stark, whatever. What's that process like? I mean, is it literally just it's got to be the way HBO is with their production. They're so detailed in such a high budget show. Do you come in, get dressed, get fitted, that type of thing, and then kind of just get direction when it's time to shoot? How does that work?
Yeah, I'll tell you, like an average day in the Battle of Bastards. So we start at 3 a.m.
That's a little early.
Yeah. We were working like, I don't know, 16-hour days, 17-hour days sometimes. It just depends on where you live, really. But it's quite a lot of work. But you get in at 3 a.m., you sign your contract for the day, the NDA, and then you go off and you eat a buffet breakfast, and then you get called in for your real number. So your costume, you put your costume on, then you go for hair, makeup, and breakdown, which is like, makes your costume look dirtier than it is.
Yeah.
And depending on what stage of the battle it is, depends on the makeup or hair. So like they can make you like really muddy or really bloody, and they put like clay and stuff in your hair, and they really make you look like you've been dragged through a battle. And like the hair and makeup, they won Emmys for the Battle of Bastards. That's how good they are.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So so that takes a lot of time, especially like, I mean, there was like 600 crew in the Battle of Bastards and 500 extras, and 250 of them I think were Wildlings, or maybe more. There was 80 horses. There's like crazy statistics for the Battle of Bastards anyway. And then we'd get like on coaches, and we get driven to the set, and then we get our weapons there, and then we go through like a warm up. We get into our ranks: Wildlings, Starks, Boltons. Every morning the Boltons would line up and file. And I didn't realize that it was taken so. In the morning, one of the third AD, he came up and he had a loud healer, a megaphone, and he says into it, he says, "Who owns the North?" He shouts, and all the Boltons are quiet. And he goes, "Who owns the North?" And all the Boltons go, "We do." And I was like, "Holy crap, we're against an actual army here."
Yeah. So getting everybody in the mood for the big
exactly.
for the big battle,
because we're going to war. We're like, they're our enemy. So then like the Starks came up with a howl. So Andy McClay, probably the most featured extra in the whole show, like he is a legend. I think Reddit have made an article about him. He's one of my best friends, and he was like the unofficial leader of the Starks, and he would go, "Starks," and he would just howl like a wolf, and then all the Starks would howl like wolves, and that was their war cry.
Oh, very cool. So actually, even though it's a show you're filming, you're getting in the mood for like, okay, you got to really picture these people as your enemies. So,
Well, we wouldn't eat. We wouldn't sit together at lunch. Put it that way.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but then after that, after the battle at Winterfell, whenever 1-1 takes the gates off Winterfell and busts through,
Yes.
I'm right there whenever Jon Snow is getting shot at by Ramsay. I've got my bow and arrow aimed at Ramsay just in case he manages to take down the Lord Commander. We send an arrow through him. And then whenever Jon Snow's punching him in the face, I watched that happen for a day and a half.
Yes, I did hear. I was going to say I did see on your site where you were one of the bowmen there, and then I did hear that all the behind the scenes stuff is they got every angle and had him punching him for so long that he actually hit him a couple times too.
That's right. Yeah, he came up to me with like shaking his jaw, and I was like, "You all right, man?" He's like, "Yeah, I just got caught a few there."
Yeah, oops, just a couple. But yeah, that was pretty intense. So it's pretty cool to see and hear from you, especially, you know, with what actually happens and the level of detail. I mean, what did you guys think as far as you and your family? And it all starts off with you know, some TV shows interested in your pups and you know, maybe some people with long hair and beards that you mentioned earlier. But when did you know this was going to be like the biggest thing ever as far as TV?
When did I know? It would have been whenever I was in New Zealand. So I was hitchhiking and camping on my own, you know, reading Lord of the Rings, getting really immersed in it. And I'd stay in hostels. And, you know, I get chatting to people and they'd be like, "What do you do back home?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, I do this and I do that. And like, these are my dogs and, you know, normal stuff." And they're like, "Oh, they're really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, they're in a TV show called Game of Thrones." And then like, people are like, "What?" And then I tell them the story about how my dad was involved, my dogs were involved, my brother's just after filming the season 5. And by the time I finished the story, it went from 2 people to like 8 people sat around me, and then more. And then before I knew it, I was like a miniature celebrity in the hostel. I was like,
right.
My dogs are just my dogs, you know. And I didn't realize like how big they actually were and how many people actually loved them. So like this German dude begged me, because I hadn't read the books, he was like, "Let me give you the audiobooks and just let me, so I can say I give you them," you know. So
yeah,
that's when I realized it was big, because like people were really taking it seriously and they're cool. And even just getting pictures of me, even though I wasn't in the show at this point, they were like, "I just want to get a photograph of the guy who owns the Direwolves." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So like while I was doing the Lord of the Rings tours, I was like, I know the locations they filmed near my house. Like it's like 5 miles away is Winterfell. Like I literally live 5 miles from Winterfell. It's
right.
And I live near the Wolfswood, and I live near where Rob was crowned the king in the north, and an hour north of me is the studios, and an hour above that is like you know, the Dark Hedges and Melisandre's cave where she gave birth to the Shadow Baby. And there's like so many different locations that we take tourists to now because I was inspired by what I seen in New Zealand, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. And so, yeah, I know we definitely want to get to and get to what you're doing now on the tour and let you give out all those details. But one last thing. So you did say, you told me before we got started, you have worked on season 8. I know we don't do spoilers here, so I'm not asking any questions. I'm not trying to get spoiled myself. I try to do predictions and theories based.
I don't even want spoilers, and I work on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, but yeah, so I try to do, you know, predictions and theories based off what I've seen or what I've read. I am a book person as well on this channel, so I try to cite book stuff when I can. But you have, I just want to be clear. You have worked on season 8. It is now done. So I know you can't say anything, but I'm just curious. Do you know the ending?
I know nothing.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna be Ned Stark in this and keep this a secret.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm kidding. I don't want you to say. Believe me, I understand. I don't want you to say a word. I want to. This is both exciting and sad to go into the last season of this thing, man. But yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate giving us all that background. I know you probably told these stories a million times, but yeah, so right now you are doing these Northern Ireland tours, as you mentioned. You go in all these various locations. Give us how did you get into that, and tell us what you do and all that good stuff. And where can they find you?
Brothers and I kind of started, you know, well, the family started having people like contact us here, and you know, local people would be like, your dogs were in Game of Thrones, weren't they? And they're like, yeah. They're like, can we bring our family around to like show them? And we're like, yeah, cool, cool. And then more and more people kind of started showing up, and we're like, right, we can't have people coming to our house to come and meet our dogs anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, look,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't just show we're about to eat people. You know,
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
at least call
yeah.
first?
Yeah, let's make a designated time where people can come. So then, you know, the Winterfell attraction down the road kind of started showing interest. So we started showing the dogs to people who were already coming to see Winterfell. So it was like, you know, come to Winterfell, meet the Direwolves. It fits perfectly.
Right, right.
And then we decided, you know, we could show people the locations because, like, you know, we live near them. We know how they're filmed. We know people who filmed in them. Let's, you know, start doing that. So we started doing that out of hotels and showing people around and, you know, the different locations and stuff. And we decided that, you know, we wanted the more hardcore fans. We wanted the people who had read the books and lived and breathed Game of Thrones because they were fans, like we were. So then we started with the coach company, and we started working with them out of Belfast. And then we decided that, you know, we could run this a lot better if we were pulling the strings. So this year, we fully went independent. I mean, we run our own business. We run our own buses, our own everything, and it's really exploded. Like, you know, we've gone viral pretty much over the last few years. Like Odin and Thor themselves have been to Comic Cons. They've been in Times Magazine. They've been in National Geographic. We've met celebrities I never thought I would have met through it. The Mountain, he wears one of these T-shirts, you know.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah, so like I've done chat shows and stuff with the dogs at my feet. I've been in American TV. I've been in Australian TV, and like we've kind of just really gotten really big. And so yeah, so it's been crazy. So then we started, you know, running our own tours, and we run them every day pretty much. And people come here just to meet Odin and Thor, and we've met about 500,000 people in the last 3 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a big number.
yeah, yeah. So like people who are just fans of Game of Thrones who want to come see it, and like, you know, they meet the dogs and they meet us and they hear our story, and they hear a lot more than what I've said this evening. But like they you know, they get really immersed in it. And like yesterday, there was a girl from Denmark, and she just broke down in tears because she couldn't comprehend what she was saying. She, you know, you watch the Direwolves in episode 1 and you see them being found, you're like, whoa, them dogs are really cute. And like, that's really nice. They're them, like, they're my dogs, you know? It's like, it is surreal for me. Like, you know, because I show the clips when you come on tour, like, you know, you start off in Belfast and we go to like loads of different locations. We wear the cloaks. We've got the replica swords. Your tour guide is an extra from the show. We only employ our friends who have been in the show, and not just in the show, but like featured, so they can prove it with the screenshot.
Right. So you can kind of
Yeah,
like hold up the shot of where you're standing and where that's cool.
yeah,
That's
we're
cool.
like that. I was there, and then we show them, like, you know, the locations, and then they get to meet the direwolves, and that they always say that's the highlight. Like Odin and Thor, they're like, they just turned 8. We had a big birthday party for them this year. Last year we got them a birthday cake, and I mean, you should definitely show this, but like it was a photograph of Ramsay Bolton on the cake, so that whenever they had the cake, they had his.
Nice. That's perfect. Yes, I'll definitely. Where do I find that clip at? You
That's
know.
on Instagram. I'll send it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I did follow you on Instagram, so I'll definitely throw that up there. That's awesome.
Yeah. So then we recently ticked over 10,000 followers on our Instagram. We're like 11,000 on Facebook, and we're just always looking for more. You know, we want it. We're the most genuine tour you're ever going to meet. We're the most genuine, as in we have filmed the show for the last 8 years. Our dogs are in the show. The guides are in the show. They're not bullshitting. You can prove that by screenshots. You know, the locations and the swords and the cloaks. Like, our cloaks are made by costume girls from the show. So the people who dress the actresses and dress the extras are people who are making the costumes that you'll be wearing as well. The star cloaks, you know.
Right. So you're
And
getting
did you see?
you're getting the
Yeah,
full experience here is what you're doing.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
dressing
yeah.
up as a Stark or whatever, and from my understanding, you also is it you shoot bow and arrow at Winterfell? Is that right? With lessons?
You can. That's all extra. You can do all that as well. Winterfell is a pretty beautiful location, you know. Tullamore as well, known as the Wolfswood, another beautiful one of Ireland's oldest forests. They've actually shot several films there now since Game of Thrones showed up. So yeah, they can do a load of experience. But we try and immerse everyone in it as much as possible. Like, you know, we're the best thing you can get. in Ireland for Game of Thrones tour, and like not only that we're genuine, but like we're like genuine fans as well. You know, you can ask us 99% of the questions we'll be able to answer. You know, like we're
Right.
super nerds.
Yeah. Like me and many people that watch this channel, I suppose.
So you're more than welcome to come on a tour. It'd be an honor to have you.
Oh yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to get over there, man. That'd be outstanding.
I think you could do these locations on your own if you drove around, and like there's an app you can get that has all the locations. But I think it's a better, genuine, better experience whenever you're being guided there by someone who's in the show, but who also has screenshots of what was filmed there and video, and then a behind the scenes story of what happened and who shot it. You know, Helen Sloan being our friend, like, you know, we know she took most of the shots. We know like a lot about her, and you know, there's different like little stories like the stag story and stuff that you wouldn't get with any other tour or going on your own. So it's good to come and hang out with us, you know. And yeah, we're all nice guys. It's good.
And you're all too pretty.
Exactly.
You're too pretty for the show. They had to throw a bunch of mud and shit on you.
Yeah.
No. That's very, very cool, man. So I was just noticing really quick on your website. Now, again, I'll put all these links for everything in the description. You have these T-shirts, like you mentioned, your pack member T-shirt. I see the little. That's a very cool little paw print on the side. That's a good design, man.
Yeah, so you can, yeah, that's cool. I don't know if you've seen it yet on the website, but you can also get podographs.
I was going to mention that exactly. You got these little direwolf pups, little plush toys, and you get the pod. I gotta have me a podograph.
Okay, we'll send you one out.
Yeah, I gotta get me one. I'm looking at them right now. I got the website pulled up, so very cool. So you can order various things. I guess you can book your tour on here and get all the information you would need.
That's right. And if you need anything else, just email us. We're always happy to reply. You know, happy to help you.
Yeah. So everybody can find you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll link everything in the description. The website is, of course, obviously. Before we go, man, anything else? Are you doing anything currently? Any future plans? Acting? Any kind of thing coming into? Is this setting up other opportunities?
Yeah, I could sit and talk to you all day, but let's try and tell you my top few things. Number one is like let's see what the prequels bring. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with them. Are they going to film them here? I mean, I've seen newspapers say here locally that they're going to film here, but I'm going to wait until I get the official.
Yeah,
prequels coming would be cool. You know, I think it's 1,000 years before, or maybe 10,000 years before. You know, Bran the Builder and stuff like that.
Right. The Age of Heroes, supposedly 10,000 years before. We'll see how they actually do that. But that's one thing I'm actually waiting on for this channel as well, is you know, some filming news coming out of that, and I'm gonna do some speculation on what that could be as far as the Age of Heroes. I tried to get on GOT Season 8, man. I tried a little hashtag campaign because I promote this show so much, and I really love it. The audience loves it. And I was like, just let me be. I'll walk in the background and just be a white. I don't care, man. I'll get my fucking head knocked off by somebody. But no, that's very cool. You're local, and they, you know, it's really cool that it helps out the local economy, Northern Ireland, and like you mentioned, the farmers and you guys, and it's changing people's lives, and it's really cool to see. And that's one thing I want to do on this channel, was start talking, because to me, it's not just about the Kit Haringtons or Emilia Clarkes of the world. It's, you know, imagine a scene where it's just Kit Harington out in the field and there's no wildlings behind him. But that's boring. So I'm really, you guys, you know, and like I mentioned before, sound designers, costume designers, all the stuff that makes that goes into this show and makes it so damn good and visually appealing. That's what I wanted to start doing on this channel, is just talking to people like you and getting your inside scoop, that type of thing. And I really appreciate it as a film connoisseur myself. So yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I really think this is interesting as hell. And even like you're saying, it's a small part, but it's a very important part, and you're working 16-hour days to make that thing look, to entertain us, essentially.
So what they call us is support actors, you know. I wouldn't call myself an actor, but what I'm doing is like I'm adding to the scene, you know. If
Absolutely.
I was doing something wrong, I mean, I'm adding something to it, so that would be I'm a support actor. And yeah, just keep your eyes open, see what happens. Another thing I want to add about the future is I want to bring the dogs to the USA. That's what I want to do. I want Odin and Thor to go to the USA, because I think there's a lot of fans out there who would love to see them, but not necessarily have the opportunity to fly to Ireland. So
Yeah,
I think we may as well bring the guys over and see what we can do. So at the moment, I'm just kind of, brainstorming different conventions and stuff we could hit up, main cities we could go to, and see how well we can do. So maybe within the next year or two, we could see us in the US.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's interesting you say that because I've been to now the first Con of Thrones, and I was a panelist there and on several panels, and I was supposed to go this year to the second one. I wasn't able to make it because a situation with my daughter. Actually, the people in my channel, and we do live streams every Sunday, so feel free to hop on here anytime and join us. But we came up with what's going to be called ProtoCon, and that's going to be our own little mini convention next year. We haven't got the details nailed down yet, but maybe, hey, there we go. Maybe we can get Thor and Odin to ProtoCon 2019.
That'll be an opener.
So it's going to be a small type of thing with community of SmokeScreen viewers, Game of Thrones lovers, Ice and Fire nerds, as I call them. That's what I've always said here on SmokeScreen. But hey, there you go. There's a couple of images right there, right off the top of my head, I can think of to get the exclusive Thor and Odin / Summer Greywind and you guys as well.
That'd be cool. Yeah, definitely. That'd be awesome. And we'd give a little speech and tell everyone how good it is to be in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate it. Unless there's anything else before we wrap it up, I don't know if I've missed anything. I hope not, but I'll definitely link all your stuff in the description and where they can find you, and definitely encourage people to go on this tour. I've heard a lot of great things about it from actual fans who've been there, who watch this channel, and I want to get there one day myself.
If you ever come, yeah, definitely. If you ever come to Europe, just give us a shout. To all your viewers, give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. There's always updates, daily updates. Odin and Thor get up to so many adventures, so check out our Instagram stories and stuff. We're always looking for your doggy pics as well. We're always looking for fan input. We always want to grow the pack. We want more and more people following us. So yeah. Come and join us and see how fun it can be.
Absolutely, that sounds cool. I'm going to send you a doggy pic, man. I'm going to send you.
Do it. Yeah,
I'm going to send you Riddick after we get off this call.
Love your T-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know what? I had a Targaryen shirt on, but I figured for this, I better put on.
Yeah.
I better put
on.
You gotta
bring that to Ireland. You gotta bring that and stand where Rob is.
Yeah, they do call me. I will say they do call me the King in the North Carolina. So just say it. No, I'm kidding. Some people actually do say that though.
Nice.
So anyway, Anyway, Will, I really appreciate it, man. Been a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, nice chatting.
Appreciate you hanging out. Again, check Will out. I'll leave everything in the description below on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the website, and definitely encourage everybody to get on this tour if you can.
Thanks. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, so thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Enjoy your night.
All right, you too. Thanks, man. All right, guys, so I hope you really enjoyed that interview. I know I did. I enjoyed kind of getting the in-depth, behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like to be an extra, an actor on Game of Thrones, as well as some other interesting things that Will and his family did in the production, and really cool that his dogs became some of the most famous dogs in the world. And also, thank you so much for allowing me to do this giveaway here on SmokeScreen. So what I'm going to do is what we usually do on Sunday night giveaways when we do giveaways occasionally on live streams. I'll set up a link in the description below where you can go click. It is the Gleam app, and you can do various things like subscribe, follow on Twitter, etc. to gain more and more entries. So we'll let this contest run for a couple of weeks, and then on a live stream we will pick the winner, and the winner will be able to take someone with them to Northern Ireland if they choose. Now this doesn't include travel expenses, etc. And if you're already there locally in Ireland or in the UK or somewhere closer as far as being on the other side of the pond, this will be a little bit cheaper. But if you were planning to go, this is an opportunity to get 2 free tours and meet Will and the Direwolf pups as well. So anyway, check the link in the description below to enter the contest and win the free GOT tour. And as usual, thank you for all the support, especially to you guys on Patreon and to everyone on YouTube as well. And also be sure to subscribe to get everything and click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.